Ignorant cops often face the consequences of their actions, just like this entitled officer who made every officer on the scene turn off his body cam just so he could do this.
What are you doing? You think a lot of you yell something's gonna change?
As police navigate this dangerous world, we are supposed to trust them with our life. But for every good cop, there's a batch of bad ones. They hate to be exposed by higher authority.
Okay, he's not touching it. You guys are.
You want to let go of your...
We're not touching it.
That's too tight. Okay, let me undo it. That's too tight. Relax.
Let go.
That's too tight. Let me undo it. Relax.
Hey, why are you guys touching?
Why are you touching us?
This is illegal.
That's illegal.
We didn't.
Touching us.
Calm down so they don't say that you're doing anything. Just calm down. You know that.
What are you doing?
You think a lot of you yell something's gonna change?
Why are you doing this?
You have the right.
Why are you doing this?
We're protecting you.
You're not protecting me. You're hurting me.
What?
You think a lot of you yell
You just
something's gonna
insulted me.
Good.
You're hurting me.
What do you
Step
mean?
back.
Good.
Step back.
Yeah, you got that too tight. It's too tight.
What are you doing?
Loosen it.
Let go of some of this shit.
Let go of that stuff.
Loosen it.
Let go of some of this stuff.
Loosen the cuffs. Loosen the cuffs.
They will.
Yeah.
Loosen the cuffs.
Shut up.
Loosen the cuffs. Loosen the cuffs.
Well, you're
Loosen it.
there's nothing wrong. I guess you got computers in there.
Loosen the cuffs. Loosen the cuffs. Stop. What are you doing? Ow. What are you doing?
The brothers were unfairly arrested and escorted back to the police van. The officer in white, Captain Zuba, shoved one of the brothers out of spite.
Let it go.
Dude, that's my phone.
Let it go. We'll put it in your bag. Which bag is this?
Being recorded.
Captain Zuba takes one of the brothers' phone. Keep this in mind because this will be important later on. The brothers were stuffed in the van and taken to jail, and were set free 6 hours later. They got all their items back, except for the phone Captain Zuba took. The brothers reported the theft, and Internal Affairs visited them days later to discuss the matter.
Holder number 4, like 80% sure that's him. Sorry.
You can just sign it and write what percentage you believe that's and who do you think that is?
Captain Zuba.
Okay.
This is clearly Bush.
Okay, what percentage are you sure?
100%.
Okay. From here, we gather any facts we can. We're gonna go to Little Italy to see if there's any surveillance footage there.
Okay.
Stuff like that. And we present the facts to a prosecutor, and the prosecutor will determine if the officers committed a crime or not.
This here is one of the bike I had that they returned that and the guitars, no problem.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, aside from your cell phone, they gave you everything else back. Just your cell phone was not in your bag or nothing like that.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to be accusatory, but it was kind of wrong what happened, man. And I think they might have destroyed the cell phone because of the evidence of him assaulting me on it.
Almost all the deputies present at the scene told Internal Affairs that the captain told them to turn their body cams off. Only one officer's body cam was on, and that would come back to bite Zuba in the behind.
Did you have a WCS camera on that day?
I did have it with me, yes.
And why wasn't it activated during the incident?
Captain told us no cameras.
How come you didn't activate it?
I was told not to.
And by who?
The captain.
Okay, and when did he tell you that?
The beginning, before we got dropped off.
Did you have your WCS on you at the time?
Did I have it on me or turned on?
On you.
On me, yes, I had it on me.
Did you turn it on?
No, I did not.
And why is that?
We were told initially from the captain not to turn them on, and then I was thinking we were off duty, so we didn't think we had to have them on.
Captain Zuba was going to face the worst embarrassment of his life.
And the officers who were in the area of these two individuals informed you that they had been placed under arrest. Is that still your story today?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall which officer or officers informed you that they had been under arrest at that point?
Bush.
Bush did that. And this is as the workman brothers are approaching you. The officers are someone behind them at that time? Is that correct?
No, they're all surrounding them.
They're surrounding them when you first encountered them? And Officer Bush tells you that they are under arrest?
Yes, sir.
Did he say for what charges?
I don't recall that, and I do remember that they weren't in handcuffs.
Right. So, Officer Bush was interviewed by Sergeant Sheehan by the City of Cleveland Division of Police Internal Affairs Division. And during that interview, he stated that he had not placed them under arrest nor cited them and had no intentions of doing so. And it was his understanding that you ordered him to do so. Would that statement by Officer Bush be accurate?
No.
Okay, so his saying that to Officer Sheehan in his recorded interview, would he be mistaken in that or lying about that?
I would imagine he's just mistaken.
Oh, he wasn't mistaken, all right. Lying through his teeth wasn't going to help him, since Internal Affairs already interviewed all the other officers.
A violation of this church's rule, would that be a criminal offense?
As far as I understand, yes.
Because within the city of Cleveland, isn't it lawful to do the act they were doing? If had it not been for the church prohibition against that, would their actions be lawful?
As long as they weren't obstructing.
Right. So the permit that the church holds or held for that feast, did it detail the permit holder's right to curtail otherwise lawful activity by citizens?
That's beyond me.
Because my understanding from Sergeant Sheehan from the Internal Affairs that the church's permit only granted them two areas of authorization: to block the street and to encumber the sidewalks with certain displays.
Okay.
So, that being said, how could they control otherwise protected First Amendment speech and actions that per Section 657801 is permissible conduct within the city of Cleveland?
Zuba was trying to say that the church's authority overruled the Constitution, which was straight BS. The investigator gave him a law that shut Zuba up real fast.
Also, Captain DeZuba,
It says 4 o'clock.
did you, 4 o'clock, at any time, did you order any officers who were working this detail to not activate their WCS?
No.
You never ordered anyone to do that?
No. Tony tomorrow had his on.
Right. He's the only one did, and he said the reason why he had his on, he wasn't assigned to that detail. He works, I guess, community policing that's already working in the Little Italy area. Is that correct? And so he's the only one who had his on. That's the only reason we got this.
No, there
Except
were
for the only other officers who had theirs on were the officers who transported them, who was Officer Turner and Love. And in their IA interviews, Patrol Officer Bush, Patrol Officer Anderson, Dominique Anderson, badge number 1753. Patrol Officer Scott Carey, badge number 2400. Patrol Officer Richard DeVelchio Jr., badge number 1278. Patrol Officer Musina, Patrol Officer Wright, Patrol Officer Cody Dorner, badge number 269. They all stated in their IA interviews that you ordered them not to activate their WCS camera. In fact,
Zuba's face was turning red. He knew he was screwed. It was 7 testimonies against his 1. Were all of them liars?
It's a direct statement that they're saying the captain orders them not
every
to
last
turn it on.
one make that direct.
Not that somebody had said we're not turning our cameras
Every
on
last
during this
one.
event. So the captain would have had to go to each one of them and directly say, do not turn your camera
Some of them
on.
said it was said when they were getting off the bus, because I guess they rode a bus to this detail,
And
then
and who the captain
And then-
met them at the bus.
and I think it's Del Vecchio who says during the actual arrest, he goes up to Captain DeZuba and said, should I have my WCS on during this? And Captain DeZuba said, no. Again, these are what these officers are saying in their interviews. Each and every one of them, to a man, all said, including Officer Bush, every officer said they were ordered by Captain DeZuba to to not activate their WCS. Each and every one of them. And none of them had their WCS on.
Well, can he
And I
speak to
asked
that?
him, yeah, he already answered it. He said he didn't issue that order.
Get off a bus?
And some said during this arrest, they were told, don't go on.
Okay. Did you ever tell them during the arrest, don't
So
turn
those
your
officers,
camera on?
again, those officers who made those statements during their IA interviews, they were mistaken or lying about you issuing that order?
I can't tell you why they said what they said. Well, I was standing next to, I believe, Kozar and Tomorrow. Tomorrow had his video on.
Right, he's the only one.
If I had said anything during the arrest, it would be on Tony's video.
Well-
If I said, don't turn your videos on, Tony would have shut his off. They could be saying whatever they want to
But
protect themselves.
I think Officer Tomorrow is saying he wasn't working that detail. Is that correct? He wasn't working that detail?
He was
assigned
working
you?
for me.
He's working though for the city.
He's working for the city, right, but not
There.
detailed there.
There.
Well, he
Detailed
said that's
there.
his ordinary.
He's not working. He's not working part-time there. Some guys work secondary employment. Some guys work for the city.
None of this was secondary employment. All of this was working for the city, paid, and each officer
Right,
said
that
they
was
filled
a
out an
big
overtime card.
confusion.
They all
That's-
filled out an
okay.
overtime card. That's not a secondary employment issue.
Okay, but
At all.
Tony worked directly for me.
Here's what he's saying.
Right, but that's his regular thing. And so Officer Tomorrow, again, I'm not interjecting I'm saying what Officer Tomorrow is saying. He's saying he had his WCS on because he didn't come there with them.
I understand.
Part of this.
We agree. He had it on, and he's working for the city. They're all working for the city. The other ones don't have it on. But I agree with you. You're telling me he has his on because we know there's a camera footage.
The interview footage suddenly cuts off for unknown reasons. There's so much corruption going on that it's insane. The only officer whose body cam was on had a lot of interesting details to share, as well as some other officers.
Prior to this day, had you ever encountered these two guys?
I've never encountered them, but I've seen them around downtown before.
Okay. They always stand around and play their guitar? Is that what they do, or they just...
I've seen them on 4th Street playing their guitar.
Okay.
I was in the downtown unit, I think.
Are they normally allowed to do that?
I'm not sure. I would imagine.
Okay. Did you witness Captain DeZuba, or let me start with this, did you witness either of the two guys trying to record Captain DeZuba on their cell phone?
I don't know if they were trying to record them. They had cell phones.
Okay. Did you see Captain DeZuba try to take the cell phone out of one of the guy's hands?
I think during the arrest, I took one of the cell phones out of the person's hand.
Okay, but you didn't witness Captain DeZuba ever... Because the complaint is that Captain DeZuba grabbed the guy's hand when he was trying to film him and twisted his arm.
No.
You didn't witness anything like that?
No.
Okay. The way how I translate your video is that you kind of were walking up after this initially started. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So in your video, you take Joseph Workman's cell phone out of his hand. That's the guy with the white T-shirt on.
Yeah, one of them.
And the video shows you handed to Captain DeZuba.
Yeah.
Did you see what happened afterwards?
No.
Okay, so did you see Captain DeZuba with the phone after you handed it to him?
No, because I think even while I was putting stuff in the van, my camera caught DeZuba and he didn't have it.
Okay.
So I don't know if he set it down somewhere.
And that's the next question. You don't know what he did with the phone after that? Okay. Do you know why these guys were arrested? Do you know what they were charged with?
No.
Okay. Were you present when they were issued a minor misdemeanor citation?
I think somebody was asking for a minor misdemeanor book.
Okay.
Or maybe as I was walking away or something.
But you weren't there. So after your camera goes off, you were out of there. You didn't return at all? You didn't have any?
No.
Okay. Did you see any other officers with their cell phone?
With the suspects?
Yeah, with that same cell phone that you took from the hand to the Zuba. Have you heard anything about what happened to it by chance?
It's highly likely that Zuba stole that phone and destroyed it. It probably had even more severe incriminating evidence on him.
I only created a path to the van with you guys.
Did you have a WCS camera on that day?
I did have it with me, yes.
And why wasn't it activated during the incident?
Normally, like, we never really used them at the feast. I've done it a few times, but also Captain told us no cameras.
When did he say that?
Right around the time the gentlemen were being arrested, or prior to, right around there, people were like, no, everybody just kept saying no cameras. Like, Captain said no cameras. I got a no camera sign, so I didn't turn mine on. I didn't turn it on.
Okay. Do you know why he said that? Was there a reason? Or?
No, I didn't question it. Anytime
Okay.
somebody higher up says no camera, I turn it off.
Okay.
Or don't activate.
All right. For this incident, had you how many days did you work on the detail?
I think I worked almost every. I think I worked every day.
Okay, it was overtime?
Yeah, I turned in an overtime card.
Okay. Were you given the option of using your personal vehicle to park there and work, or was it meet at the district and...
We all met at the district, and then
Okay.
we got transported.
Do you know if officers had the option to take their personal vehicle?
I think a couple guys did drive. I don't recall,
Okay.
but I want to say a couple guys did drive though. And
Okay.
parked in the family lot.
And you don't know who gave them permission to do that?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, I'm just going to have you look at this. This is just a picture of your guys' property book. And the line's highlighted. Did you write that in the property book?
I did not.
Okay, do you recognize that handwriting?
I do not.
Okay. When you put something in the property book, do you also enter it into LERMS and put a tag on it?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And do a property found sort of report?
Yeah, there would have been a report done
Okay.
when we turned it in.
Okay. Do you normally put multiple items on the same line?
No, sir.
You usually do individual lines?
There's an individual line for each item.
Dumb cops are parasites to society. I wish we could get rid of them all. When we are lucky, higher authority sweeps them away forever, never to be seen again.
I didn't fight the system because I honestly believed they were my checks.
It's scary when you start seeing police chiefs being interrogated for corruption. How can you trust any cop if their chief gets caught for his crimes? This interrogation will show you exactly how this chief manipulated the system and cashed in on it. On March 10, 2018, Buckeye Lake Police Chief James Hansey went over to a residence for a police call and accidentally fired his weapon. This led to an investigation into the chief's conduct, where the police found out that there was a lot of shady stuff he had been doing this whole time, and nobody knew.
I wasn't even thinking of being on technically light duty.
Right.
Had no gun with me. And, you know, with there someone possibly being in that house dying, you guys have done the same thing. You'd have went in. We had 3 people here, and we've been trained. I told Ritter, give me your handgun. Vermaiden went around the side of the trailer to see if there was a door on the back. And we went in, pepper 3. Vermaiden was the first one in the door, went to the right. Because it's a single wide. Went in and I went to the left and I held the whole back of the trailer. And the trailer is really dark. And the only lights that's on is their flashlights and a TV in the very back room. I'm standing here, low ready, left hand, and all of a sudden something flashed. I thought someone was coming up at me. When I came up, I hit a corner and poof, went in the round, went in the floor.
Okay. Did you have your finger on the trigger or something when you went up?
I had, yeah.
Hansey had a finger amputation just a day before the incident and was advised to stick to desk duty. But the policy didn't get through the thick skull of his, and he ended up endangering lives.
From her end, set her and her son down and said, listen, we had an accidental discharge. Sorry about that. Well, everything in the house is fine. And his exact words to me is, I don't give a shit.
The point still stands. He wasn't allowed to be there. Would he say sorry about that if the shot actually injured someone?
Was there any conversation about not telling them about the accidental discharge?
Yes, there was.
Okay. Was that your call?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the rationale there?
Ritter likes to tell things, and for the integrity of the case, integrity of the accidental shooting, Ritter, you don't have to go tell everybody that we had an accidental shooting. Let's get this investigated first. Let's go get it looked at. You know, let's save the integrity of the case right here before anybody, 1,700 people know.
Sure.
And that was the only reason. No reason to hide anything. How can you hide an accidental discharge?
Makes it tough. Things go bang real loud.
Yeah, and you got a spent shell. We got the shell. Okay. Yeah, I sure did. I told him. Because he likes to tell.
Yes, obviously it's the mayor's fault. Dodging accountability is going to be difficult for a guy his size.
I called the mayor 6 times and she never called me back. She called Ritter instead of calling my phone. She does that a lot. Because she had the other day, she's standing there, Ritter's phone goes off. Call from Peggy Wells. He's talking to her. I'm like, I walk up and say, why aren't you calling me? I'm the chief.
Right. That's true. Huh.
You know?
So you guys got some communication barriers between you and the mayor, you would say?
From years, she's been on council for years, and yeah, she never liked the police department. She's actually picketed against the fire department. She don't like them. She had a big meeting with Randy Thorpe, and well, Billy was still there, and wanted to see about bringing them in and get rid of us. And Billy and them guys told him, you can't afford us.
Right.
You know. But when she took over mayor, and she took me in on January 19th, I told her, I said, all I want to do is my job.
Yeah.
I want to work with you. I have no hard feelings about nothing.
I didn't know cops were allowed to work from home. Do they handcuff using emails? Who allowed him to be paid while he worked from home?
And I guess a couple of them mentioned a computer that you had at home, that your excuse was that you had to go home because you had some information on the computer at home that you didn't at work.
My computer at home is set up the same way the computer at the house. I mean at the office.
Okay.
And if I was at my house doing stuff and writing, you can go to my house right now and I can show you the stuff that I've done, changing policies and changing things. I've had permission from our mayor, Kate Carroll, to go there.
Okay. Have you had permission from this mayor to go there?
No, and I haven't.
Okay. All right.
I wish I'd have brought my phone in. The times that they're probably talking about is I burnt my foot, right heel, really bad, clear to the bone. And I had to have a special boot.
Who allowed him to be paid while he worked from home? The police chiefs should report weekly to some higher authority, and investigators should go through the police station at least once a month.
It hurt to walk in it. And I would come in the mornings, I would get the mail like I was supposed to, I would check the phone recorders and do everything else, and then I would go to the house and do what I had to do. You know, but I always had my walker right there, and they knew this.
Well, I think part of it too was they said they came over, a couple of times, and you were just wearing shorts and a t-shirt watching cops while you were on duty.
No.
And that was and then when I checked the records, you had him logged down as hours for that day. But my concern is if you're at home that day, and that's true. Let's say that's true what he's saying. If you're just sitting around watching cops when you're supposed to be at work, that could be an issue.
Right.
Why do you think that is, Jimmy?
I would go home a lot, but I would not. I would be in blue jeans or my BDU pants and a shirt that always said police, and I would be doing the stuff that I was allowed to do on the computer per the mayor.
He was treating the police station like a restaurant he owned. What a waste of tax dollars.
What are your procedures for junking cars?
Junking cars?
Yeah, let's say you get a car in an impound, nobody comes and gets it. What is your procedures to get rid of that vehicle?
Run the thing through the state of Ohio. They come back and tell us if there's a lien on it. And then you send that person, or if there's a lien on it, you send that person 10-day notice. Or if there's no lien on it, you send that person, the owner, 10-day notice. And then if they don't collect it, or we get it back, they've got 10 days to pay the towing or anything like that. If not, then I go get a title from the BMV, and then we gather how many ever cars we got up, get 3 bids, and then people come out and look at like junkyards or private people or whatever. They look at all the cars all at once and give you 3 bids, and
As if the situation couldn't get worse, Chief Hansey was also accused of removing batteries from junk cars and selling them for personal profit.
Have you ever taken any batteries out and sold the batteries?
No.
No? And the reason I'm asking in this setting, Jimmy, is this is a setting where under Gary, you can't be charged with what we're talking about. We can't talk about this criminally.
Right.
Okay, but if that comes out criminally, there's going to be some issues probably with stealing. Okay, so there's been those allegations, and a little more than just allegations. Very, very specific things that I've checked out that are not making a lot of sense. Okay, one of them especially being a water pump that was taken off of a truck for Randy.
If anything was taken off them cars, the village already owned them, and they had permission from the mayor to take anything. I personally have never taken anything off the cars, out of the cars, anything. Now, Randy and Mark Dimick has, yes. But they've always had permission, and they've never done anything until the vehicles were owned by the village.
Sure.
This police department was a joke. Petty crime right under the roof of a police station?
The village owned it. Did you take any batteries then after they owned it? Did the mayor say, hey, you can take these? I'm trying to, you know, explain it for myself in my head why I've had two people tell me the same thing now. Two different people. One, you know, that I would say is completely on your side. One that says maybe not completely on your side, and they're both telling me the same thing. So I'm trying to figure that out why in my head that would be the case. So is there a circumstance or an instance where you did take a battery or two after the mayor cleared it?
I've never taken a battery.
Never.
Never.
Okay.
Never.
All right. Well, I needed to ask you about that because, like I said, I've had a couple of them here. All right.
The detectives wanted more out of the chief, so they shifted the point and attacked him for the same discharge situation.
In the village, they took a call, even though they're not cleared to come back for 2 more days. Would you per se, do you have a problem with that?
If it was the same situation that I was put in?
Sure, call it exactly the same.
No, I would not.
Okay. And why is that?
Because there was imminent risk of death. He was there. He had plenty enough people to take care of what the situation was. And I believe he has what word do I want to use?
You want to use probably duty to do something, right?
Yeah. And
I assume that's where you're going with
yeah.
that. Okay.
Yes, I do. I would not have a problem with that at all. I mean, the accidental discharge was very unfortunate and a bad timing, but, you know, no, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all.
Once again, the accidental discharge seemed to only be a stepping stone for the detectives as they pursued another key issue in the department.
The end of the month report where you've got all the hours listed for everybody that worked, all the calls were taken, all that stuff.
Yeah, we get the calls and everything out of the computer system.
Okay.
And Jeff would estimate the hours.
How's he estimating the hours? I'm confused on that part.
I worked 80 hours a week.
Uh-huh.
I mean, 80 hours a week.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. That's 160 a month. So he'd put 160. He would take what he was supposed to work, divide that by 2. That's what he would get, just down the line like that.
Okay. That's for the full-timers, right? Who was ultimately responsible for that to make sure those numbers are correct?
Those numbers were estimations. They were never correct, not meant to be correct.
You guys are paid by the hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you get paid by the hour, an estimate by the hour? How does that work?
How do you pay officers by the hour? There were so many holes in the PD, it was difficult to comprehend.
So then you're ultimately responsible for making sure the numbers are accurate when they go to Mary, who I assume Mary does some other report as well, or did at the time?
I have no clue. We just turn in our timesheets to her.
But you make a report for city council, or for village council. I'm sorry, if I keep calling city council, I'm just used to this. You make a report for village council, right?
The end of the month, they would get a report.
Yes.
On with the fire department and every street department and everything else.
Right. And that report is done by who?
Vermaeten.
Okay, so Vermaeten does the report. He does the report up, and I would assume, since you're the guy in charge ultimately, and you're the one responsible for numbers ultimately, you look at that report.
No.
You don't look at the report that Vermaeten's doing?
No, he would come in or on a Friday when I'm off on Fridays, and he knows Monday is the council meeting. He would do it up, and then he would take it over and give it to Valerie. I have no clue.
But you know who comes. But you know who's coming and going, Jimmy. That's the whole thing I want to get at. You know who's coming and going in the department, and there are people like Schilling. Is it Schilling? Schiller? I know
Jason Schilling.
Jason Schilling.
Yeah.
I talked to lots of people, and they said he only comes during taser training. That's it. And he's listed for 16 hours a month.
Correct.
Every single month.
Correct. Because Frank Foster, our mayor, said he did our radar, he did our taser, and he did something. What else did he do? Radar, taser.
The department's officers were all overpaid for the work they performed. One officer in particular was paid full-time, despite only attending taser training. Here's the chief's explanation.
It may not be 16 hours. I believe it is accurate because the mayor, Frank Foster, said, we will trade him this 16 hours a month if he continues to train us like that. And that's the way we did it.
I understand what you're saying. I do. I get it. But, you know, a guy like that's invaluable. You know, but you want that guy to actually work. And when you're presenting those numbers to the village council, the numbers don't match what is actually going on. You know, so if you're putting 16 hours down, it looks like that guy's been there for 16 hours that month. He put in at least 16 hours of time, right?
If you wanted to look at it that way, yes.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know how else to look at it, Jimmy, when it comes to that, because, again, yeah, valuable guy. You want to keep him around. You want to keep him happy, but he's not putting the numbers in that you are saying he's putting in.
The chief once again deflected blame, pointing fingers at other officers and even the mayor, insisting he was simply going along with their decisions. He seemed unable to comprehend the seriousness of the situation and his own accountability.
It's on there for 16 hours a month. Every month that she's been there, she's got 16 hours a month. I call her, she says, no, that's not accurate. I call the guy she rides with, Haas.
Jeff Haas.
Jeff says, no, she does not work 16 hours a month. Yeah, you guys put 16 hours a month on that sheet.
Again,
you understand that's a criminal charge. That could be a criminal charge to do all that stuff.
There's no monetary value.
There's no monetary value. You're making it public. You're making it public record. You're falsifying a public document because it's going over to village council. You see what I'm saying? So you're falsifying a document that goes over there, and I don't know why. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. You know, but I mean, this is a place to explain it, Jimmy. If you're going to, I mean, this is where it gets explained.
The chief was shown his crimes, and that immediately made him start gaslighting the detectives.
Let's go to these checks that were cashed for the insurance company. Now, I talked to the insurance company about those checks, and they had some pretty big issues with them. Mm-hmm. All right? That may be something that I'm going to have to turn over to somebody else to investigate criminally. If it gets to that point, I may have to do that. I don't know what the insurance checks that when you were transported to the hospital and you were supposed to pay, you were supposed to cash them, and you cashed 4 of them.
Oh Lord, you gotta be kidding me.
See, Jimmy, the problem with an internal investigation is once it starts rolling, it starts opening the door to all kinds of other stuff that comes in. Mm-hmm. And I have a duty now to at least address it and try to figure out what's going on. In this setting, again, you're under guarantee. Okay, I can't use anything you say criminally. Period. Okay.
Oh, I understand.
So, all right, I want you to understand that, before you.
This is funny. These checks, I honestly, wholeheartedly, with my life, believe they were my Aflac checks. Because I talked to John Curtis, you can call him and ask him, I got him in my phone. He says, you've got a check coming, and you're going to have checks coming for your follow-up visits. I just got a check, and you can run out to my truck or give me the keys. I got $3,100 out there. I just got an Aflac check for this.
Okay.
I honestly, wholeheartedly, 1,000,000% believe them checks were mine. This started to piss me off. When I found out they weren't, I made arrangements and they were taking money out of my payroll every month. I didn't fight the system because I honestly believed they were my checks.
The entire police department was a mess, and the detectives were just dropping bombs at the chief, who should have been aware of this prior to this investigation. As the investigation neared its end, Hansi's desperation became clear, and he even admitted to some of the alleged misconduct. In the end, he once again tried to become the victim in this situation.
Right before Mary left, in December, I asked if we could get a window tint meter for $48. No, you don't have the money. Seriously?
Wow, $48?
$48. So that's the way we've always been in that village from day one I started. They don't give us nothing. We buy our own paper. We buy our own uniform. They give us a uniform allowance. But we buy our own boots and we buy our own guns and our belts and stuff that whatever the uniform allowance won't cover.
That reminds me of something though, Jimmy. I got to ask you before you take off here. You threw away a bunch of property.
This officer was immediately fired after this interview. The world would be a better place without these thieving cops. Next up is an officer who busted his own door down and called the police. The investigators immediately knew something was up.
Watch this 5-6.
Rita Sarita Switch. This is Katie. How can I help you?
Hey, Katie. This is 622. I just got back to my apartment, and I think somebody broke in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just, I need to have a unit come out here.
How old are you, Ski?
21.
21. You know how long I've been doing this?
Many years, sir.
23. So I'm pretty good about reading situations, you know what I mean? So I want you to know that first of all, you know, I can help you out if there's something else going on here, okay? But I need you as an officer to be 100% honest with me right now.
Sure.
The supervisor was no stranger to rookies messing up and saw straight through his lies, but he was still giving him multiple chances to fess up.
Now, it's my understanding you were, when you called your mom, which you say was, you were sitting right here,
yes,
was at 642. At 642, you were in Walmart.
No, sir.
So, listen, Ski, this is the time, okay? This is a very important juncture in your life.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Where I want you to be 100% straight with me. If you messed up and you kicked your door because maybe you forgot your key, maybe because you were pissed off, stuff happens. If I was in a bind and I had to kick my door, I'd kick my door. Okay? That's when we got to help each other out. If you made a mistake, you made a mistake. But this one I need you to be straight with me 100%. You don't want to start your career with a blemish. Okay? So there's other things that I haven't told you yet that lead me to believe you're not being 100% straight up with me.
The rookie said he was 21 years old. I think the minimum age somebody should be allowed to be a cop should be at least 25. This guy was way too young to be a responsible cop.
I looked at the boot patterns. What do you think I saw there? Okay, it's okay. It's not the end of the world, man. But I need you to be straight with me. Okay? Why did you kick it? Were you locked out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's all right. But here's the thing, man. When you do something like that, especially in this career, you call your buddy Munoz. Hey, dude, I got locked out. I had to kick my freaking door. Probably going to be in trouble. So I'm assuming maybe you thought, what, that you were going to have to pay for the door because you kicked it or what?
I knew that.
Yeah. Okay. So why did you kick it?
I did get locked.
You got locked out? And couldn't find your key, or it was in here?
All that was in here.
It was in here. Okay. All right.
They noticed a child-sized boot print on the door and immediately knew it was him. I feel like I'm watching a child get scolded by his dad. He's definitely not ready to be a police officer.
Is I need you to take off your gear, okay? So you can just put that down. You can just put your phone down or whatever. But I'm gonna take this from you, okay? Is this triple? Is it a thumb release? Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and take all your gear off, okay? Keep in mind that this doesn't have to be the end of law enforcement for you, okay? This is a misdemeanor. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, okay? You might have another shot in the future, but you can't start your career out with a false report, okay? It is a crime, all right? I think maybe, you're 21 years old, and I'll tell you right now, I couldn't barely at a level of maturity where I was, okay? So I don't want you to beat yourself up about this. But these things happen. You know, you're young, you made a mistake, you made a bad call, and this could be an important life lesson. Okay? But at the same time, now that with our department anyway, your credibility, not so good. Okay? I'm just being straight with you.
He got fired because the detective realized if he lied about this, imagine what he would lie about during an arrest. The guy lost his job, got a charge, and still has to pay for the door. Genius.
You want to keep that belt, or you want to just give it back to Pat?
I'll keep the belt. Yeah, because you said you didn't want it anymore, so.
Okay. No problem. Oh, wait, that. Hold on. You can take your phone with you, bud. I'll let you use your phone while you're there. Okay.
I'll have any questions for the side and the wallet on this side.
Your phone on this side?
Wallet and nothing in the front. Nothing on this side.
Okay.
Did you, I saw you were getting your mail. Is your house key on that same keychain?
Yeah.
Yep. So, you didn't put it in your car, right?
I don't think so. No.
Where'd you set your mail down at?
Back behind the TV.
Imagine lying to a cop who has been on the force before you were even born. Good thing this guy was arrested and fired. He would have abused his badge and been a source of humiliation for the entire PD. While this rookie got caught lying instantly, this next one got grilled for messing up by his senior at the spot. Brittany, who'd previously been assaulted by Officer Patrick Akers, saw him driving in New Braunfels, Texas on November 6, 2023, and well, let's just say she wasn't thrilled. Her reaction? A middle finger. Akers' response? Prepare for some serious overreach.
So this is that female, Trevino. She flicks me off as I'm going back to the back of my patrol car, fails the single left hand to go into the left lane. She flicks me off, so I just wanted a second when I made contact with her. How's it going? Officer Akers, New Braunfels Police Department. Okay.
I know who you are.
That's fine. Well, the reason why you being
over for flipping you off.
No, ma'am. The reason why
you are retaliating against me. You turned your sirens on and everything. Ran over here like a crazy person.
Okay. Well, ma'am, the reason why you're being contacted is you failed to signal lane change when you flicked me off.
Okay.
Okay. So go ahead and step out of the car. Step out of the car. I have 3 officers here.
He's hurt me before. Please don't let him.
Officer Akers' demeanor shifts notably the moment Brittany references their past interaction. His tone becomes defensive, and he repeatedly interrupts her attempts to explain the situation. This reaction suggests a consciousness of wrongdoing. However, the incident escalates further, and his anger continues to rise.
Yeah, would you mind, Henderson, go ahead and detaining her in cuffs?
No, because he's done illegal to me.
Okay, all right, we'll just continue to violate that for me. You're under arrest for failed to signal lane change.
I'm under arrest for failing to signal a lane change?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm under arrest for failing to signal a lane change?
Yes, ma'am.
Stay still. I'm sorry. You guys just know this is bullshit. You guys just know it is. You guys know it is. You're under arrest. Grab my phone. Please grab my phone.
We'll get it. You want me to transport, or you think it's better?
Danny can do it.
Danny, would you mind just transport? You don't have to do anything else other than transport.
It's only when a senior officer arrives, humbles Patrick, and teaches him a lesson. The officer asks him to turn off his body camera to spare him the embarrassment, so we have to rely on the audio from a phone call instead.
What's that? Yeah, she has a driver's license, but...
I'm gonna turn this off. No.
Yeah, she has a driver's license, but...
Why are we arresting you for traffic infraction?
Well, she comes down the street, comes right towards me. As I'm walking back by the car to do nothing, she flicks me off.
Mm-hmm.
And then as she does that, she gets on the lane, fails the signal lane change.
Mm-hmm.
See? You think it's going to be an issue?
Huh?
You think it's going to be an issue?
Given your history, right?
Yeah.
So, any other person you would write a ticket to, right?
Yeah.
So, that's how you have to treat every interaction. So, if you would normally write a ticket to this person for this is something that you would normally write a ticket for, then it's write a ticket for.
Yeah. You want me to go ahead and police you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Procedure for the plate for Charles Paul 5990 for number 3 Volkswagen 4-door blue color.
PD 35, cancel order. 217, can you bring it back up here? Take the handcuffs off. Alright, so let's write the ticket and go about it that way.
Sounds good.
Because all you're going to do is give her more ammo. Alright? Yep. So, write the ticket, just fill it out.
The officers then try to explain everything to her and somehow end up blaming the whole thing on her. They don't even apologize for Officer Patrick's overreaction.
You're good to go. So I understand that you flicked the officer off. That's not. So my question was, did you flick the officer off?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Regardless of what your history is with Officer Akers, your intense hate caused you to flick him off, and then you committed a traffic violation. Okay? Had you just gone on about your day and not worried about flicking people off or anything like that, none of this would have happened.
I know, but
It just... Oh, it did? No, I didn't. Let me get your signature on it. So here's the thing, right? Had you just gone on about your day, right? So your intense hatred is causing you to do other things that is drawing attention to you.
I understand what you're saying.
You need to move on with your life. Man, move along.
At this point, the cop was literally just gaslighting her. Everyone has freedom of speech, and no matter how distasteful it may be, flipping off a cop is still her right.
I always, you know, and I never thought this ever could have happened in a million years. I never would have thought.
I'm not here to debate this situation with you. I watched the video. I know everything that occurred. Okay? I know about the court stuff, everything that occurred. If Officer Akers had done anything wrong, he wouldn't be here right now. Right? That's 100% true. It is. So, you need to move on and not be running around flipping people off, right? I get it. That's your First Amendment if you want to flip people off, but what it did is it caused you to create a hazard into a traffic infraction right in front of an officer, right? So, with your citation, we're all complete, so you're good to go whenever you want. But, correct?
I understand that bad things will happen to me if I do anything.
No, that's not what anybody's saying, right? You flicking people off has caused you to do a traffic infraction right in front of an officer and caused you to get a ticket. Right? You can choose to be defined by your past, or you can decide what you want to do. Right? But if you choose to be defined by what happened to you in the past, then you will always continue to be that person. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying?
This case was a prime example of how a bruised ego can make a cop do dumb stuff. Do you think the officer should be punished for turning his body camera off? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked the video, subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one we have in store for you. Thanks for watching. And if you liked this one, be sure to check out this next one too.
Here's my ID right here. You want to ask it questions? Hey ID, has Jeff committed any crimes or is he suspected of committing any crimes?